day, viewers, and welcome to yet another 30 minutes on Votes and Voices, a program that brings you political trends within and outside Taraba State. I am Frida Cletus, your anchor, and with me today is Honorable Emmanuel Bello, the spokesperson of the Dr. Abu Kefas re-election campaign organization. Right. It's a pleasure having you on the show, sir.
Frida, I'm very delighted to be here.
And congratulations on your appointment as the spokesperson of the organization.
Thank you, I'm delighted.
Thank you, sir. We'll begin with a brief summary of your principal's 3 years in office. Can you give us a rundown of how it has been within the last 3 years?
Well, I must say the last 3 years have been actually a collection of, giant strides, good stories, and effort to change the narratives of the state. Everyone in this state knows very well that when Governor Kefas came in the first time, Jalingo was practically a place that a lot of people would not want to even spend the night. And it was the crisis of security was felt around the state. Beyond Jalingo, elsewhere, you had all sorts of crises. And the first thing the governor did was to nip all of that in the bud and ensure that Jalingo and everyone became very, very secure. So this happened immediately. It was the first thing the governor needed to do. Like the governor will always say, if you don't have secure spaces and you don't have people that are, living without fear, then you can hardly achieve anything. In one of his earliest interviews, he said the best thing or the biggest job before any governor is to secure the lives and properties of his people. If you don't do that, every other thing is mere, commentary on the real thing. The real thing is to secure the lives and properties of the people. So, in the last 3 years, we see increased security. In the last 3 years, we see all sorts of progress in various sectors. I don't know if we have all the time to reel them out, but in all the sectors, health, agriculture, education, employment, staff welfare, the civil service, there's been all sorts of reforms in the last 3 years. And numerous that we can mention. If it is education, free education, everybody knows it's a byword now that Taraba State is one of the few states in the polity that is offering free education. And this free education means that both primary and secondary school education is free. And at the tertiary institution, students or undergraduates are only required to pay half the tuition fee. So there's been all sorts of things. Maybe in the course of this interview, we'll be able to reel them out. But let's say that in the last 3 years, we've seen, just like the theme of the government, which is moving forward, Governor Kefas has been able to move Taraba from where he found it to where it is today in every sector, whether it is in infrastructure, human capital development, and an agrarian state. We've seen a lot of giant strides in that sector, and a civil service state, some people will call it. We've seen a lot of stride too in that sector. So it's a work in progress. So far so good.
You've talked about the various sectors. I want to know, definitely we've seen interventions in the various sectors as well. Can we go down to more details? What would you say are some of the key star policies, programs, and projects of this administration? What would you highlight as some of the star projects, policies, and programs by this government within the last 3 years?
Well, some of the major things that are so glaring, apart from the security, because everybody feels safe. That's something that affects everyone, no matter who you are, what you do. First and foremost, you have this sense of safety, this security, that there's a leadership that cares, that is prompt, a leadership that will be fast in dealing with any crisis around the issue of security. So the psychological sense of relief, sense of I am safe to stay in the state is one key thing that everybody talks about. Even our worst critic, the worst critic of this government will tell you that, well, yeah, the Governor Kefas has been able to bring to bear his many years in the military as an intelligence officer to what he's doing. But it's like having a governor who is a doctor and then having crisis around the health issue. This governor, Abinishio, knew that one of the areas where he will be critically assessed will be in the area of security, how best is able to secure the lives of people. So that's one that everybody talks about, is always there. But Frida, like you pointed out, what are the specific areas that we can hold on to and say these are areas of great success? We take education. Again, the issue of free education. That has been a tremendous success. We were able to cut down on the out of school children phenomenon that is always bedeviling this part of the country. And we've been able to embark on ensuring that these schools are good enough for students to actually be able to learn. So we're creating enabling environments for students to be able to go back to school by engaging in building classrooms, new classrooms. Some of these schools have not been touched in the last maybe 2 decades, but this government is addressing that, going back to touch them. If people are talking about the volume of the challenge, they should also look at the number of years of neglect. So not just talk about the challenge and say that, well, this has not been done, that has not been done. When you look at the many years of neglect, some of these schools, if you look at them, they've been abandoned in the last 20 to 25 years. So addressing them will not be sudden. It will be gradual too in addressing them. But suffice to say that we have a governor who is very awake to his responsibility in the area of education. And he keeps saying that, look, if you provide the right education, you'll be freeing people from bondage, you'll be freeing people from ignorance, you'll be freeing people from all sorts of things, and that education provides the door. He keeps saying that, look, he is who he is today because someone somewhere thought that he should be given the right education. Today, we have reduced the number of out-of-school children, and they are back in classrooms. We're improving the classroom, so we're trying to improve the teaching too, by providing the basic amenities for the teaching tools and also retraining of the teachers. So that's a standing on this one, and people are talking about it. And if you talk about transportation, linking people, linking the state, that too is going on very well. The roads are jutting out in various places and people are seeing it. So these are physical things, tangible things that people can point to and say, this administration is doing what everybody expects it to do.
Are there other sectors you would like to break down? Because you've mentioned sectors, but you didn't break it down to specific interventions. You've talked about education. We would like to hear about the roads construction as well. We want to hear about the interventions in the agricultural sector and probably other sectors that you think the governor has performed very well that gives him the platform, that gives him reasons to contest for a second term in office.
Well, what is giving us this courage, this impetus to say, look, we want to go again, is because we've been able to deal with crises that perhaps nobody has been talking about or touching in the last years. Since some of these problems dating back to the state creation itself. Take agriculture, for instance, the issue of tractorization, that's having tractors in that sector. It's one area that's been neglected for a very long time. You had a tractor hiring unit that nobody was hiring anything and there were no tractors here. So to break the backbone of mechanization and tractorization of the agri sector, this governor came and assembled 200 tractors at a go. It's there, maybe your footages can capture those ones as you do your stories. So that's how we've been addressing those issues, because we need mechanized farming. So like I said, some of the crises that we're dealing with are age-long crises, age-long troubles, age-long neglected things that this governor will have to just address. Sometimes he likes to say that it's practically building the state from scratch, because in the sense that certain things that were supposed to be done at an incremental level were not done, and so he has to address them afresh. And agriculture was one of those sectors where you didn't have the right mechanization, you didn't have the right expertise. We're dealing with all of that, and making the farm safe too for farmers to go back to their farms. Before he came in, because of the crisis of insecurity and all of that, farmers have practically abandoned their farms. But with the efforts in security, those farms are back to people can now go to their farms. So alongside that is also the issue of access. You don't just have farm produce, you need access, you need a road to be able to transfer and transport this produce to the markets. This governor is addressing that. He knows that the road to development is just that, roads. And all over the states, we have roads coming up now. And some of these roads, again, like with many other sectors, are roads that have been abandoned over the years. With people even thinking that maybe there's no need to even go back there and talk about it. But this governor is addressing those roads. If you talk about the Maraba-Baisa Highway, some people even think that the road is jinxed, so that there's nothing you can do about it, that it's beyond engineering. But this governor is demonstrating that with the right leadership, the right attitude, and probably with the proper funding, you can just fix what is practically an engineering problem. And so this governor is addressing that. The Ukari-Chenke road is something that, until this governor actually started addressing the road, I think not so many people understood that that road can actually cut the travel time by over an hour or so, linking that part of the state to Abuja and to other places. But this governor took it heads on. Some of the roads are actually revolutionary because, like I said, not many people were even thinking about them. But as I speak to you right now, even with the level of work that has been done on that road, travel time has really reduced. Some people will say maybe by an hour or even more. And when it is completed with the roads and bridges, it will bring about this strong link between the center and the rest of it. So imagine what that would do for commerce, what it would do for trade, what it would do for just even pure transportation of people, movement of people from one place to another. So these are very radical, fundamental changes that are happening in the state. So and when you talk about travel, you also think about air travel. Taraba today is accessible by air, and of course we've always had an airport, but with the kind of work the governor has done at the airport, you agree with me that things have really changed. The runway has been improved, and we're even thinking of additional airlines. The airport itself has been modernized, to meet the best practices of air travel. So opening up Taraba to greater investment, to people, to places, is one thing that is happening. You agree with me that there's no civilization that will exist or can really thrive without opening up the space for people to be able to access it. So this road are playing those roles. Within the metropolis, efforts are made to actually link up more places. So like I say, footages that you might carry will show you that some roads and a lot of work has been done along those roads, and that it's changing the way people do their things. It's changing their lives in very radical ways. So whether it's in the health sector, where for instance the School of Nursing has been rejuvenated and turned into what looks like the best practice, what class standard of how a school of that nature should be. The philosophy for this governor is that this state should be able to produce its own health workers and produce the best of health workers, so that we can adequately address the issue of health issues across the state. So that's why the hospitals are getting done. When we came in, the specialist hospital was almost moribund, but now greater work is being done there to make it a much more standardized institution for health delivery. The employment of over 500 medical workers, nurses, doctors, physiotherapists, medical lab scientists, and all of that is an effort to see that we change the story of health in the state. For very long, again, this governor keeps addressing issues that have been neglected. For very long, nobody was employing medical workers. So you had people traveling out of the state to go get health care elsewhere. But this governor is now keeping everything here. People are able to stay back here and access the kind of health services they can get. So in various areas, we're touching lives. We're making sure that the changes are happening. And like I said, some of them might look a bit slow, but that's also because for a very long time, there's been neglect in those areas. And but the governor is not didn't come in for blame games. He wanted to fix problems, solve problems, and he's been doing that and trying to address critical areas of the state that needs fixing, whether it is in the civil service reform, where he implemented immediately, and that is visible, implemented all the minimum wages, and also to improve the civil service, ensure that more employments are done. We just finished the exercise where some staff were notified and reinstated over 3,000. As I speak to you now, we're also injecting more staffing into the civil service with about 1,800 civil servants. Remember that the last time any kind of employment was done in this state was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So the governor is addressing that, the issue of job, the issue of employment, and that's very key. One very glaring area that everybody keeps talking about this governor is in the area of youth empowerment. The governor ab initio understands that this state is a youth, the preponderance of youth, or the youth numbers of the state, like everywhere, is very important, and the youth energy drives development. So the governor did not play with that. The first thing he did was to ensure that even in his cabinet reflects the youthful energy that is needed. That's youth power is driving everything around the world, and this governor understands that. So he's been doing a lot to improve the life of youth, apart from ensuring that they are in his cabinet. As I speak to you right now, he has approved a sum of 500 million. And this is just to go into, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think the budget on that is huge. And what's that money? The one that's been released right now is to support businesses, young people that are into all kind of entrepreneurship, can get some injection of grants and loans and all of that to improve their business. So where you don't get a white collar job, whatever you're doing, electrician, an artisan of any kind, you can get some support from government. That is ongoing. With the youth, the creation of the youth agency, and with the support this governor is giving it, a lot of young people are getting integrated and getting some serious support, government support, to energize their businesses and whatever they're doing. Women are getting a lot of attention. This is the government, I think, in the history of the state that has the highest number of women in the cabinet. Afraid that should interest you. That this governor is very, very serious about women empowerment, and he has more than, I think at one time, probably in the country, he has the highest number of women in the administration, central administration. And he has not stopped at that. He's doing, the Minister of Women Affairs will tell you all that the governor is doing to improve the lives of women. So, across demographies, across occupational, occupational levels, and all the other areas, this governor is touching on issues, some of them neglected, some of them, touched only glibly, some of them affected by politics, some of them even areas that I think past government don't even want to address, don't want to even go into the issues at all. With courage and with understanding, he went into these areas and is pulling back those issues against all odds, sometimes with a lot of criticism from various sectors. But he said, look, problems will have to be solved, and someone is supposed to solve them. You cannot say, look, just because this problem is cancerous or is dangerous. So he goes into areas that even people don't, people think, oh, you shouldn't go into it. And I'm talking of issues that have to affect unity, affects peaceful coexistence among people. The delicate act of balancing between in a multicultural and multi-ethnic, multi-religious state like ours. So the decisions that need to be made, the bold decisions that need to be made, the correction that needs to be done, with boldness, with courage, and also with sincerity. This governor has approached all these issues against all sometimes against all sort of serious criticism to deal with them.
Also, let's talk about the appointments and recruitments by this government. The governor has shown a lot of passion in empowering people in this state. We've seen thousands of appointments, and then we've seen thousands of recruitment into the civil service as well so far. And opposition, those in the opposition are of the opinion that the state government does not have the resources to sustain what it is doing at the moment. Can you speak to that?
Well, I don't think they're in a position to tell government that government does not have the resources to keep up to its obligation. Like I told you, we are the first state, and maybe among the very first states to implement all the minimum wages, and we are paying the salaries. If you talk about this, some people will say that, well, look, it's people's privilege and rights to be paid. Yeah, but we make quick to say that we pay our salaries and we pay our workers. We meet our obligations. The appointments are a way of, on one hand, of course, reward to those who have really helped in bringing about the regime. But on the other hand, too, it's solving a much more fundamental problem, which is the issue of unemployment and out of work people that are not having work, and getting some kind of support from government. And I can assure you that there's no complaint at all. This government, Taraba is not a poor state. Taraba is actually a rich state, and if you can break, if you can stop all the flights, capital flights, or you can actually end the crisis of overspending on areas that are not necessary, like this governor is doing, prudent spending. There's enough to go around, and there's enough to solve any problem. Like they say, there isn't enough money to solve all our greed, but there's enough money to meet our need. This governor believes in that. So if you cut off you plug up all the areas of drains and excessive spending, unnecessary spending, like this governor does, there's always going to be enough to meet people's needs, and this is why this state has been able to meet its obligation. And then what the governor is also doing as a direct consequence of the sort of employment that you're talking about is to improve the IGR, and this is ongoing. Under his watch, the IGR has actually improved so tremendously, and that's because of the use of technology, better ways of assessing revenues, discipline, and we have a very tough officer at the revenue office, General Faransa, who has been able to, with the use of technology, but certainly with courage and discipline, able to plug all the areas where you have a revenue crisis, solve some of these problems, and with increase in our IGR, and with what by the grace of God we're able to get to in the efforts we are making in the area of agriculture, solid minerals, and the rest, this state is able to meet its obligation. We're not complaining.
Talking about the wealth in Taraba State, the tourism sector has a very vast untapped potential. When people go to the Mambila Plateau for the first time, they are in awe of what it holds there. And then we've seen that a lot of these resources are yet to be tapped, especially tourism. I'd like to know what this government is doing to boost tourism, especially on the Mambila Plateau and then maybe other parts of the state.
Yes, to agree with you, Freda, for years Taraba talk about the Mambila Plateau. We all know what it is. It's the rooftop of Nigeria. It's actually the crown jewel of Nigerian tourism business. There are people who tell you that Obutu Cattle Ranch is actually the tail end geographically of the Mambila. So, and this governor does not think that that should always be the story. We should go from talking about potential to talking about portfolio to talking about performance. That we're not just talking of what we have, but what we can open to the rest of the world. And that is why, with the Ministry of Tourism in place, this governor is doing some of the 3 major things that can boost tourism. Access, road, because that's one component you need to tap into any kind of tourism potential. You need access to the place where people are going to enjoy those sites and all that. So road, or even by air, the fact that air travel has really improved, so that when tourists want to come to Taraba and access tourism, because it's certainly not just Mambila, it's also in our fishing potentials, with one of the finest or biggest fishing festival at Wunyo, and all sort of festivals that you have here that can interest the tourists and somebody who is looking out for tourism entertainment around the world. So roads are very important. Then the hospitality business is very important, having the right places where people can stay. It's a component of tourism. You have roads, you have the right places where people can stay. Under this governor, that has improved tremendously. And it's private people. Private people have actually come up with concepts around the issue of hospitality, and it's working. With government also now thinking strongly of improving on its own contribution in that sector, so that when tourists come, they can stay. The other thing is safety. You need these 3 components. You need the access, you need hospitality, you need safety. This governor have worked around all of this. Today, Taraba is one of the safest states, and so tourists can actually come here and assess tourism site. When you have crisis around the issues of banditry and the issue of people not feeling safe, that actually affects the tourism industry. But one of the things we have done now is to reassure tourists across the world that there's access, there's hospitality, and there's safety. So with that, we are trying to improve on all we're doing. And even on the Mambila itself, a lot of improvement. With the Tropical University coming out there, it's going to direct traffic to the Mambila. And a lot of people will be able to enjoy the vast wonders of this place, and then the state can really, really benefit from it. So we're going beyond just talking about our Mambila potentials to talking about how we can access the place, how people can feel safer there, and how people can be well housed when they're there.
Thank you very much, sir. So let's talk about the challenges. We know that there can't be wins without challenges. What would you say are some of the major challenges faced by this administration?
In the last 3 years?
Yes.
Okay, well, this government is part and parcel of all of course, the national economy itself and the crisis that's been going on in the country. We came at a time when security challenges were really a thing. It's still a thing around the country. So this governor had to work around the clock because he considered that to be very important. And of course, whether you like it or not, that takes a lot of resources. So there was the challenge of how to keep Taraba safe in this atmosphere of crisis and insecurity. So that was a tough one. But latching into his background and his connections, and also the right funding, and with the support of all the institutions, whether it's the youth, the traditional, the religious, all the other institutions, were able to deal with that. I just see pockets of challenges, yes, there are, and the governor is addressing them. Sometimes with close to almost an uncommon sense of patience and trying to work diplomatically around people to say, we can solve this problem. So he's approaching this problem in various ways, because we can actually be called one of the safest states, but that does not mean that we're not also dealing with some little crisis here and there. So that's a challenge on its own. I think the other challenge will be the issue of getting people to understand that progress can be slow at times, but it's possible. So, but our people are so understanding, and they're beginning to understand that this is the intention of the governor and it means well for the state. I think a lot of people are grateful that they are safer. A lot of people are also grateful that at least they don't pay the kind of money they used to pay for education. I think that is already gaining grounds in spite of the criticism around the issue. So the challenge going forward basically will be to get more people to understand that these are fundamental surgeries that need to be taken. And it's not easy. A surgery can be very painful but very needful. Some of the things that the governor is doing might look a bit very challenging, but these are things that need to be done. We need to get the buy-in of more people into understanding that it goes beyond just jamboree, because we have a governor that is not too given to the razzmatazz and the political jamboree of trying to just get some kind of claps. You want to deal with problems from their roots and solve it, which is why it took him time to come up with a master plan for the state. People were like, what will you do, what will you do? And say, look, I need to deal with the problem. No point having some kind of short-time measures that will not last just because you want some applause. So I think the Taraba people are beginning to understand more who this governor is, his style, his antecedent, and the way he does his thing. And that is getting for us more support, more understanding, and as we consolidate some of the things that we have done, roads, some of the other little crises around the issue of insecurity, the education, the free education itself, which is a very fresh, idea, almost novel, with some people, even some stakeholders, trying to frustrate it. But those were teething problems, and we're getting to cross that. More people are understanding that, look, this is what we need. We need a free education, and that even some of the issues, that the practitioners sometimes complain about, the issue of their own welfare, the issue of their concern, we're taking all that. So as we work these things, we realize the challenges posed by these kind of drastic measures. We realize that, very conscious of it. The governor is one person that is very conscious. He listens to radio programs a lot, listens to interviews like this, and gets to feel the pulse of the people, sometimes directly. when he walks around the people. So we know what those problems are. We know areas where people want some kind of acceleration, and all that is being taken into consideration. We know where people think that we should plug this area with you, we should stop this tide, we should stop all of that. He gets to hear all of this, and going forward, we are going to really improve on everything that we're doing now. So those are the challenges, and then of course, the overall challenge, the crisis of funding. Everyone knows that's given the economy, the national economy, you have to plan seriously. If you are dealing with one issue or one sector, another sector wants your and there's just this amount of funding and revenue. So that's why increasing going forward, making our revenue work for us, making Taraba state money work for us. Some extent maybe run away even from what you get from the center. These are areas that we are going to be focusing on, and to see that we continue to, take off, things that just take away on your revenue and your funding, which are not necessary. A smaller government, maybe, but one that is very effective, that is able to reach the people, because the funds in the states are not just for running the government, but it's also to ensure that people feel whatever they are getting. So, if you talk about challenges, they are always there. And of course, this governor has been able to, maybe through his character, has been able to reduce the rift and the bickering among the political class. So that's helping too. But going forward, maybe we expand on that and ensure that there's greater unity, both among the people and of course the political class, and a government that is very efficient and running well.
Talking about the people, does this administration have a structured feedback mechanism to get the pulse of the people on its policies and programs? Is there any how you get to know how the people are responding to these
Yeah, like I told you, the governor himself is the first. He has this very fantastic leadership habit of listening. He listens a lot. Those who have seen the style of Governor Kefas know that he doesn't talk much. Probably that's why I hire some of us that like talking, so that we'll talk. But he doesn't do much of the talking. And so all the time that he's not talking, he's listening. He's feeling the pulse of the people. He's listening. Surprisingly, maybe I should just say this as a secret. Governor Kefas actually comes out and meets people, real people, almost on a daily basis, to hear what's going on and to understand. So he does some of his inspections in ways that most people don't know, but it's there, it's happening. He's feeling the pulse, he knows all that. So more than any other thing, the feedback mechanism that we're employing, this is what you do in the media. The things, you are the mirror. So what you showcase and what you tell us also come back to us. So there's that. But of course, there's also deliberate, which we've done in the month of February, or was it last year? No, February, which is to actually organize town halls where we hear directly from the people. Those town halls are not avenues for any political talk. It's talking to real people with real issues. What are the issues? Because you agree with me, Freda, that if road is so important to one place, maybe water is the other thing that's more important to another. So you need to listen to all that. You can't assume and just make policies for people. You have to hear from them. Because your roads are fantastic, but for some communities, getting cleaner water, getting health care, for some communities, getting better farming implements might be better than, of course, everybody needs roads. Some they will say that you have to help them with their power infrastructure. So there are common needs that cut across everybody. There are peculiar needs of people, and that's why this governor does not just rush into doing things. You have to listen to the people, so that whenever he's doing anything, so there's that feedback mechanism, the back and forth between the government and the government. It's robust, and the governor encourages it, and by the grace of God, we'll get to hear from people. So the media is helping, the town halls are helping. Himself, he listens. He's a great listener, so he listens a lot to what is being told, and he's saying. And then, of course, generally, just feel us when a policy is going on. The schools, each time the governor is at the university, for instance, gets to hear directly what the problems are. Go to the secondary school, you hear from the teachers and from the unions and from the associations. Get to hear what they need, and these needs are real, and there are many. And so, but a government can only do this much to address almost all the crises. But the most important thing is, one, the willingness to do those things, the political will to do them, and then the character of honesty to know that what belongs to the people belongs to them. And this governor has got that. It's not in the state to shortchange anybody. It's just here to do, according to him, the work of God, practically, where he will be able to touch the lives of people, and they get all that they want.
The Dr. Abu Kefas re-election campaign organization, what are you selling to Taraba people ahead of 2027 to make the return of the governor back to the government house easy?
Well, we think we're going to have a smooth ride. We think people want more. We think our efforts, we actually have already spoken to us. That's why the governor is not even favoring some kind of jamboree of a campaign. He wants a situation where the people should be able to make their assessment themselves. Compared to last 3 or 4 years ago, are they safer now? Do they feel more safe? Has their life improved in ways? What about their welfare? Has it improved? We believe that the answers we're going to get from these people, from the Taraba people, will make it smooth or smoother for us to have a sale. So if you feel that we have done well for security, if you vote for us again, we're not campaigning yet, but we believe that whatever we've done in the past that you think was a good thing, we can continue doing it. We're going to keep the state safer. We're going to ensure that we'll continue to attract investment into the state. We want to ensure that the welfare of workers is very important. The youth that constitute some of the most boisterous and efficient voting bloc should ask themselves whether this governor has tried for them in the area of employment. If we have done this number of employment, we're going to do more. If we have improved their lives so far, we're going to do more. So, on the basis of performance, even just performance, without serious persuasion, which will come, but on the level of just performance, what we have done so far, and the roads we are trying to build and we're building, and the welfare that we're able to put in place, social security, and all of that, we believe that the people themselves will be able to make up their mind and decide that, okay, I think Governor Kefas deserves another shot at power. Nobody wants to, try something that they say the angel, it's always better. Well, and then so you don't want to gamble with opportunity. The man who is keeping us safe and keeping the state safe as it is, well, you don't want to try anything else, because I think a lot of people are happy that they can go to bed. If not for anything, they can go to bed, wake up the next day, unlike in the past when everybody was running up and down. So we believe that the Taraba people themselves are going to be the vehicle of this change, of bringing us back, based on the back of the things that we've done.
What 1, 2, or 3 words do you have for the opposition, sir?
Well, I speak for government and for us. I think the opposition, they have people that talk for them and talk with them or advise them.
This government has come under heavy criticism. As far as the opposition is concerned, they feel this government has done nothing.
Well, the opposition said that again and again, which is the more reason why we, in this interview, for instance, have been saying things that we've done. And some of them, I try to keep it at the level of what is tangible. Because if you go into judicial reforms, civil service reform, a lot of reforms are going on. They're there, but I want tangible things. The fact that, thankfully, some of the members of the opposition actually use our airports and they see the improvement, and they sometimes even venture to say, well, that's fantastic. Some of them use the road that we're building. Because it's funny to say the governor is not doing much, and then you sleep and wake up and in peace, and then you say, well, it's not done much. It's a lot of work. Keeping this state safe is a lot of work compared to what it used to be. And when you're able to use these roads and access the state capital or wherever you're going to do your thing, that's somebody is there working. It didn't just come out of the blue. That's work for you there. So, but of course, it's in the nature of opposition to say that nothing has happened, because we're in the battle for the minds of the Taraba people. And you may know something, but the power of persuasion, someone will come to tell some people that no, this has not been done, this is not. But of course, technology, the media, social media, and everything has made it so easy to know this is happening. You can fact check on everything I've said here today. Now can be fact checked on. If I'd lied about anything, you can just go check on it. If you're not lazy, you can just check on it to know whether am I telling the truth. I think it would be extremely difficult to say that this government has not performed. It would be difficult. Because if you're a parent that is paying, just have the tuition fee they used to pay. If you are a parent for a primary school, secondary school kid that is no longer paying everything, and even getting support like uniforms and the rest. If you are someone that just live peacefully, if you're a farmer who has been able to go back to the farm, it's difficult to tell those kind of people, those category of people, the people that really matter, that Governor Kefas has not done much. It's difficult. I think it's a difficult job to tell them that.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. It's been good having you on the show. Our viewers, thank you for staying with us. See you on the next episode of Votes and Voices.